my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, nah, unlikely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains. I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things. Gonna make a f***ing name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain. I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste it, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate it, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking fight me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent, and it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots, if I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. Bad energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste it, you can try me. If you wanna hate this, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fight me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste it, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate it, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking fight me. No motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love.
Hey, beautiful people. Welcome to Aussie True Crime and Spirit Time. If you're new here, we like to cover Australian true crime cases and paranormal cases that we go on, or I go on with Spirit Time. I have got the membership link pinned to the top today, and I've also got Spirit Time's link in the chat as well. So if you haven't subbed up to Spirit Time, please do, because future ones we want to do on his channel, and I'll just be uploading them here. So who have we got in here today? Of course, Spirit Time, and I want to wish him a huge happy Father's Day, and he has taken it off to come and do this with us. We've got Tammy, Matt, Beautiful Crystal, Lady Spitfire. Just going through. So hello everyone. So we went to last weekend when I didn't come on. We went to Ararat. Ararat. Ararat is a small town in southwest Victoria. It's about 200 kilometres from Melbourne, and it was a beautiful town. We thoroughly enjoyed our time there. People, food was amazing.
Yeah, I want to go back.
Yeah, we definitely want to go back. So we put together a little, some little things that happened over the weekend, and hoping that we can share some knowledge with you. So this is Aradale. So the town's called Ararat, and the asylum was Aradale. Just going through this bit. So what we're going to do is just go through each picture and talk about what we learnt about those pictures. I can't see chat. I can only see it on my iPad. So if I miss a comment, let me know. But Spirit Time's watching chat as well. So go through. So our first day there, we went to Asylum for the criminally insane. So this was just in the street. It was the town hall. Beautiful mountain. It was a gorgeous area. Absolutely gorgeous. So this was J Ward Asylum, and it was for the criminally insane. J Ward started its life as a goldfield prison back in 1859. When the gold ran out, basically probably mid 1880s, the prison buildings was acquired to the lunacy department as a temporary housing for the criminally insane. So J Ward was originally known as Ararat Country Jail. As I said, it was built in 1859 and it opened its doors October 1861. In 1887, it was converted for use as a maximum security for the psychiatric ward for the criminally insane. So J Ward officially closed in 1991, and in 1993 it was reopened for tours and museums and what it is today. So what we learnt is that it was a jail first after the gold mine, because that's where we're going back into the gold, when gold was being found in Australia. In fact, Australia was first being formed. Probably it was only about 20 years, wasn't it? Or 25 years before they made it part of
The Lunatic Asylum.
the Lunatic, the asylum. So the asylum was actually, how far away were they?
It's only on the edge of town. Well, it's pretty close.
Yeah, but it was probably a couple of kilometres away from each other. J Ward was named J because all the buildings, when we get on to the pictures later and I show you how big the asylum was, at one stage they were naming the asylum wards A, B, C, D, and they obviously were up to J when they brought this one. So this was it became the maximum security for the asylum. But yeah, there was some moments in this one. We didn't actually take the video camera in. I only had my camera at the time. So we have taken photos, and we're going to go through it all and explain parts that we learnt on the day. But we do want to go back, and when we go back, we want to get a private investigation in here because this building really needs to be looked at. It was beautiful old building. So that's just another one from the front. I couldn't get it all in my camera. This was at the side. So yeah. So this one here says that how long it was the jail to when it was actually became part of the asylum. So the building was originally opened at the Ararat jail in, as I said, 1881. Between 1887 and 1991, it operated as a ward for the Ararat Asylum and was named J Ward. Visitors would experience how the jail was. They spelled jail wrong in it, but that experience how the jail and asylum operated for over 130 years. You can still see how the pioneers lived in the early years, and then how the building was used to house the criminally insane. So yeah, that was just a sign at the front that we put in, just to give you a bit of the history. Again, it was opened as a jail. It served its needs to the goldfields and district. It became a ward for Ararat Asylum the hospital in 1887, and was then used to house the criminally insane until it closed in 1991. Went through a number of changes in 130 years of operation. The main one being the addition to a new wing in 1939 that offered more enlightened approach to the treatment of mental illness. J Ward is open to the public for tours now and has times, or you can do it by appointment. So this was just one of the doors that was there. I just want to keep my eye on Jack too. So this was one of the books, and it actually had all the names of people that had been in there. Hi, beautiful Ray Ray. Cowboy car crashing. How are you? What was this? It was
That was the sign-in log, I think.
the book was, that was,
Patients list.
yeah, I think it was one of the patients lists that they had there. And that was us out the front before we went in. So as you can see, the stone behind it was built out of bluestone. On the 10th of October in 1861, when it was opened, it had a total of 21 prisoners incarcerated in it. The first governor was 𝔱𝔪𝔢𝔫. And in 1864, the jail was then housing 40 prisoners. And in 1867, John Gray became the jail's second governor, a position that he held for 10 years. The 15th of August, 1870, the first execution was conducted at the jail, where Andrew Vere was the first person. There was 3 all up, but we'll get into that more as we go.
Well, we actually did the tour around the jail ward too. They mentioned the old guard towers, the positions they were in and everything. You could still see the marks on the wall and how they used to use them and everything when it was still the prison.
Yeah.
They took them down when they turned it into the asylum. Nothing much changed apart from the guard towers because they didn't need them when they changed it over to the asylum.
But you've got to understand too, when we're talking about this, is back in the 1880s. So it wasn't a jail as we think of today. Back in those times, they didn't have a lot of medications. So a lot of people went untreated. There was
electrotherapy was the main one
used in there. Yeah, it was just it wasn't a nice place, and you could feel that in there. So these are all the governors that were at the jail. We did investigate a little bit. Mainly the main part of the asylum is where we actually went and done our main investigation. This one we just done a tour because we didn't actually know about it until we got up there, and then we found out that it was part of the asylum, so that's why we went and had a look through. So that's just shows you, it's an aerial shot from the top, so you can see at the front here, I don't know if you can see it, that's where we were standing, but that shows you kind of how big the jail was. It didn't seem that big when we went through it. Okay, so when we walked in, I put these 2 pictures together. So you walk in and out onto a grassed area. This building that we're looking at was for, it was like the offices. And if you were married, you could apply to go into this little house.
This is the warden and his wife.
Yeah, and it was 3 rooms. The man that was taking us through our tour actually told us that the couple that lived there actually had 7 children. And there's literally 3 rooms to this place. So could you imagine having 7 kids and 3 rooms? It would have been chaotic. So that's what it was. The married warden's quarters was built for a married officer during the time when he was serving at the jail, because that was another thing as well, what we found out. If you worked in this jail, you had to live on the premises or around the premises. Like, you had to stay there all the time. And yeah, it just goes through saying that there was 7 people, at least. 1 baby was born in the room as well. I don't think I'd want to be someone born in a jail, but yeah. So later on, it was just used for storage. Now they've fixed it back up. So this is the bedroom. You had the kitchen and a little storeroom. So that was it. That was the whole building, wasn't it? It was just those 3 rooms. What's crazy. This is just another build, like another one that we've seen. Beautiful fountain that was in the middle. The thing that I was so surprised at too was how green it was in there. Like, outside the jail wasn't even that green, was it? It was really...
As they said, though, it's because the heat bounces off the blue stone, creates a different atmosphere inside to what it does outside.
Yeah. Okay, so this carriage was used to transport people between Ararat and the asylum, or any visiting doctors. Like around the 1880s, it was also used for visiting doctors or and what are they called?
Prison wardens.
Yeah, anyone that was coming in, they would use, this was the actual wagon that they used to use to transport them. In the 1950s, there was also a patient called Billy, and he became the driver of the carriage. And he used to also take the nurses up to the banks to cash their paychecks and everything in. The superintendent in 1960 actually took the carriage from the asylum and brought it down to Melbourne. It stayed here for 30 years before they actually got it put back up on the jail thing, and you can actually see it now. What's better than it being stuck out here? So again, that's just the side. So this is a building we're about to go in, was the west wing. Okay, do you want to tell a story about the boat?
I don't remember the story of the boat.
So this boat was actually done back in the 1880s as well. It was done by some of the people, like some of the convicts, I suppose, some of the people that were in the jail. There was 3 of them done. 2 of them have been destroyed by people trying to wash them off and everything else, but this one is actually still there, and it's now like heritage.
They've put a thing over the code over the top of it so it'll stay maintained.
Yeah, and it's now heritage stored, so they can't actually change it. But the one funny thing is, if it was going against the wind, the flags are actually in the wrong way to be going against it. But yeah, that was back done. It was done in the 1880s and is still on the bluestone walls. And these walls are gorgeous. Like, when you walk around it, it was absolutely beautiful. So this was in the west wing. It was just one of the rooms. As I said, it's not... The west wing was for not your real bad patients, but the ones that had a little bit more, like, granted a bit more niceness, I suppose. And as the jail moved up, obviously the rooms moved up as well, and they got more beds and better kind of stuff. But I took this one because I found it fascinating, and it could just be me. The window shade, and if you actually look, you can see, do you know what I mean, the big door that they would actually put across the window to stop the light, I suppose. But I think the next one you see it better on how thick it was. So yeah, you can just see how thick that window shade is that they used to close up at night time on them. So this tin, Spirit Time actually put it on his head for me. It was put in there at night time. So once they got locked down at night, they didn't get allowed out. So this metal tin is all that they had in there overnight in case they needed to toiletize or anything like that. But they also said that when the guards came in the next morning to let them out, you had to stand back or be really careful because a lot of the convicts would just sit there and throw the feces or whatever they had put in there at you. So a lot of the guards had to have showers after it because that was something that they commonly done. But you can imagine just being put in a room with just a bed and a little tin like this in case you need to go to the toilet.
They used to have that in there when it was Asylum, not the prison. They also used to tip it over themselves so they have to be bathed.
Yeah, that's disgusting. But how Spirit Time's got it on his head, that's how they would find some of the in the morning. They would have used it overnight, put it on top of themselves so that they could have their baths and showers.
And yes, it was clean.
Yeah. So this one was this was the HIV room. So in 1980, a prisoner at Pentridge. So Pentridge was or is a jail that was in Melbourne. We have done a tour there before. He was found to be suffering from HIV, and as Pentridge was considered unsuitable, they transferred him to J Ward. And this patient was uncooperative and had little care of spreading his body fluids. And this was the treatment room. It was stripped of anything, basically, except for what could easily be cleaned. So he had basically what you see there, like a little thin mattress. The blanket was not even a nice material. It was just like a washable
Horse blanket.
Yeah, like a horse blanket kind of thing. So he couldn't break it. So when we walked out of the ward, out of that wing, sorry, and came into, there was like a little walkway, and it was like had the fencing all around it, and this was a little part to the side. So those tins that we just showed you that they used to use for their toiletries, the guards would bring it into this area and wash it.
It never used to be fenced. It's where they used to take them out to the shower block at the end to shower them. They had to put the fence up because they'd have a habit of coming out and then bolting. So to stop it from bolting, they put the fence up.
And you can see the hooks on the roof. So when they cleaned those little steel trays, they used to just hang them up in the hooks and let them dry. So that took us into the shower block. And as I said, it wouldn't have been this way back in the 1880s, but as it, do you know what I mean, as time got on, this was the shower block at the end. On the side, you can see how all of the, like the tap handles and that are all were to one side so that the prisoners actually didn't have control of the water. There was showers at either end and a little bathtub. But this was as it got older, like as it got more into the asylum. There is another bathtub that we'll show you later that was used for the prison when it was back in the 1880s. And there'd be 4 people at a time would get taken in here. Do you mean that was just, again, from the window? So in the bathroom, there was 2 rooms off it. One of them was a treatment room, again, where you can see the old bed. Wouldn't be too comfortable, but that was in one of them. And you can see the trolley, metal trolley, and that's what they used to use to transport uniforms, clothes around the jail. That was just another treatment table. Sorry. And these two, when someone passed away, be put these and just build around. So these actually came from the asylum, and they brought them down to the jail where they're, as I said, because it's part museum now as well. So these were actually from the asylum but got brought down to the jail. This was like the little fenced enclosure. Okay. So part of the deal was you're getting into like the badder part where the murderers went. Some notable patients were in there. There was Charles Foster. Sorry, I probably messed his name up. He was admitted in 1903 at the age of 21 and died in custody in 1974. And he was 92. He was the longest serving patient at the facility, as well as the longest serving prisoner in the entire world. He was incarcerated for 71 years all up. Gary David was also known as Gary Webb, was said to have several more time in prisons than any other prisoner in the history or the state of Victoria. And David spent a total of 33 years in here. Bill Wallace admitted in 1926 at the age of 44. He remained in custody until he passed in 1989, and he was 107. He was both the oldest patient in the facility and the oldest prisoner in the world. He was incarcerated there for 64 years, and a record that earned him a place in the Guinness World Records book. I know some Americans probably don't know, I should do a story on it, but also Mark Chopper Reed. He was transferred from Pentridge at a time in 78. Spent some time as well. He was well known for cutting off both of his ears. I think that was Pentridge, though. He cut his ears off.
Yeah, I think so. Trying
to get out. So I will have to do a case on him one day because he's got a fascinating story. Yeah, so this was just down the hallway. They also used to put the tables down this hallway so that they could eat, like the mess tables. You can see the doors going off to the thing. Do about this.
Go for it. We're doing it.
So this table and chairs they were all made by the prisoners and like the ones up at the asylum as well. These were bolted to the ground because some of the men that came in would just lose it and flip the tables. And there was one man there that, what was it? He didn't care. Like he would do anything. So you can actually see the white apron thing, and they used to literally tie them to, if they got too bad, they would tie them to the chairs. And there was one man that, what did he have? What was
tumor in the brain?
Yeah, he had a tumor in the brain, and he ended up dying in hospital. But yeah, he gave them a lot of trouble, and that's why they actually had to tie.
Cigarette butts, his own poo, and a lot of other things.
You gotta make that. So this was the bottom. As I said, there was 3 people executed at the jail, and this was like looking up, and you can see the trapdoor. We do go up the top, where we can show you from the top as well. But yeah, that was the execution spot. So it just says here, prisoners of troubled mind for over 100 years, people with severe mental illnesses were housed here. They were called the criminally insane. They spent their time in this bleak mentioning building following treatment. Some patients left J Ward to live in the community. Others returned to complete their prison sentence, whilst many others were moved to lower security or mental hospitals. Some patients gained a better quality of life through like the theatrical policies, and as such, do you know what I mean, they had better security and everything. So that was back in like using the other ward as well. It's hard to read it from here. I should have read that one out. So this was just showing how thick the doors were. Oh, that one went really quick. Of the cells. The cells were really tiny, weren't they?
Yeah.
So that was one of the cells. And a little bit of light that they got. So this is just showing the bed that, as I said, some of them had displays in them, some of them didn't, but this was just showing how they would have been set up with just a bed. Well, it's a lot different if you think of the way the jails are today. They have everything today. So there was a chapel that we saw. 2 cell rooms were joined together to make a chapel for them.
It was a 3-man cell. That's what he said.
Okay, it was a 3-man cell, but so it was originally the guard room during the jail years. The area later became a dormitory for patients, and in 1878, the wall to the adjoining cell was partially demolished to create space for the chapel. Funds were raised by the public, and this included a large donation from the Carr family in England, who were relatives of the patient William Carr. So this is, again, it was really hard to get it all in one. But yeah, this was the little chapel that they had. It was really funny when you're walking around all these cells and then there was just a chapel. This is some of just the things that they used to use on them. As I said, we're not talking about nice medications. It was electric shocks.
What was that one that let out the smell? I can't think of it now.
I can't remember. But yeah, it was just different things that they used on them. Was the straitjackets and the restraints room as well. So obviously they got put in them. It's just another display. So in the 19th century, this style of bed was a standard issue in the jails. Its robust construction prevented like the inmates from destroying it. So the death cell was where the prisoners awaited for their execution. They'd spend their last night in the cell. The commanded prisoner, if he desired, would receive his last meal or religious rites. As I said, there was 3 that were executed there: Andrew Vere, Robert Burns, and Henry Morgan, who did receive their last rites in this room that I'm going to show you in a minute. And the gallows was straight across from it, so they literally would sit there and look at the gallows all night before they took them. So that was the death room, or the death cell. And here's the execution, so you can see the trapdoor down there where they'd all stand and basically hang them. I think it was from the left, wasn't it? The knot had to be to the left so that it
I think so, yeah.
cut the throat the right way. Trigger warning, but
When I got up there too, I had a device going and it turned around and it said to me, 𝔖𝔭𝔦𝔪𝔢.
So this is one of the guard towers. So they used to sit up here. This is where we're going out to the yard, and basically they would watch from these as well. But they when it became an asylum, they weren't used anymore. The area at the side is where the mothers and children used to be held, because they had mothers and children in here as well. So when they came out into the yard during the day, the mothers and children would be separated in that little area. And the other one is showing the furniture that was all they really had out there. It was all cemented to the ground, as you can see, so that prisoners couldn't lift it up or hurt each other with them and everything. Do you want to explain what this part was?
What does that look like to you? Just think about it for a second. Whatever you're thinking, you're completely wrong. It used to be the outside toilet. The bit in the middle used to be a little divvy wall, so you could have two people using it out in the yard.
Yeah. And that was against the wall, and it only got cleaned at the end of the day. So you could imagine if you had to go through during the day and have to go to the toilet. It's not.
Especially in the middle of summer.
Yes, it would have stunk.
I thought it was way off. Yeah, I thought it might have been Ray Ray. I didn't know what it was either. I literally had to ask too.
So this one here, it's just the wall. Now, what we found amazing about this wall, and you've got to think prisoners would spend a lot of time like out in the yard. They had no no tools, so people would sharpen whatever they could, and this whole side wall had little carvings on it back from the inmates in the 1880s. And if you have a look on the squares, you can see one that has like a circle on it, another one that looks like a letterbox. They said one of the inmates never got any mail, so he made himself a letterbox on the back wall. Sadly, it didn't help with letters. He still didn't get any mail. But you think about it too, the bluestone is really hard rock, and to even mark it like this and to be able to make pictures, do you know what I mean? It was amazing.
They used to use things hanging, holding the guttering up, nails or whatever they could find, and because they'd be out there for so long, day in, day out, they used to just go to the wall and do their little engravings.
Yeah. We spent quite a bit of time looking for all these pictures too. You can see another one that was like an F in one there. The grapes, I thought the grapes was amazing. You can imagine how much time they spent doing this too in the yard too, because they didn't have any chisels or anything like that, unless they kind of made it. So these were just more with the writing in it. So because the inmates couldn't have, as we couldn't have anything, during the day, the only sport they could play out there was cricket, and this was their cricket like part. So you can see the little wicks there.
And mind you, down just in front of it too, the ground's level, and then it goes into a drain and levels out again. So you'd be bowling the ball, and it'd hit that drain and go fair smack into your nuts.
That's gone too far. No, why it's not playing. Okay, we've missed some of the pictures. I don't know why they're not showing up. So,
Ghost in the machine.
yeah. So I don't know why they didn't show up. The other pictures were of the 3 people that were executed there. They had little plaques on the wall that had their name on it, and that was the only thing there. But they were buried underneath the courtyard. So do you know what I mean? They had their little square. As I said, with the bluestone being all around, there was also one wall that we had a photo of spirit time. I'll try and put it up in my community post so you can see it. But all around all the bluestone was rough, and this one wall was flat as anything.
That's smooth.
And smooth. We had, as I said, we had one of spirit timing up instead. And what it was is because when the morning sun came over, it used to hit this wall first, so the bluestone would heat up. And when the inmates came out, you would always see them standing against this one wall to get the heat out of the bluestone. No doubt to say it was the most popular part of the yard, and because so many people had stood there for so long, the whole wall had become smooth, from all the other bricks where they were rough. Like this whole wall was just smooth.
So basically, a bum light along this wall is smooth in spots.
Yeah. Then we went down, and this was down underneath the cells where we just were. And this is the oldest part of the prison that is still to date. As we said, we want to go back and we want to go in here and do an investigation. So it is known for there to be a cook that still hangs around in the kitchen. And there's also 2 children, apparently, that play with your devices. They don't talk, but they do play. I don't know why that's not coming up. And as I said, I'll go back to the bathroom. So next to the kitchen, there was some stairs. I don't know. I'm hoping that's not going to. I might take it down and bring it back up. I'm going to remove this and bring it back up because we're missing pictures. And if I go back. Just going to play it through and see if they show us the pictures now. If not, I'll upload this again by itself. So if you want to go through and have a look at it. It's still not showing them. What a shame. After the live, I'll upload this again. So if you want to go back through the pictures, you can, and I'll try and make sure those ones go in. There's 2 there that hasn't even come up. So this bathroom, as I said, out the side of it was a little stairway, and that was what was used to get from the top of the jail down into this part, mainly by the wardens and stuff like that. It was said that one of the governors came down the stairs one day. He was doing it was when it was still a jail, but he was showing it to some women, and he got to the bottom of the stairs and just had a heart attack and passed away. So that room is very active as well. It's just like a little, just like a room with the stairs, but it was very eerie. And then you'd go into this room, so originally it was the only bathroom on the premises. Back when it was a jail, it had a really eerie feeling about it, didn't it?
Yep.
And there are stories that some of the prisoners would bring people in here, do you know what I mean? Do their thing, and only one would come out. But that's not, you can't find the facts on that. That's just the wise tale of what happened. But we definitely want to go back and do a private investigation in that area. So after that, we went to the cemetery. Because we were going to the asylum like that night, we wanted to pay our respects at the cemetery first.
Here we are, paying our respects at Ararat Asylum. Doing the right thing by the spirits, ones that have passed. Notice the white dot on the screen. Before we do our lovely paranormal tonight.
I just want to warn if anyone's wearing headphones too. So Spirit Time got, what was the camera?
Full spectrum.
A full spectrum video camera for Father's Day. I did give it to him early, so he's getting used to it. But when he's
So later on you'll hear clicks, and the clicks are me zooming in and out. I wasn't aware it was going to do that, but I have now since turned them off.
and it is quite loud, so just if you are wearing headphones, just be aware that there are some clicks coming up. But it was just Spirit Time zooming in and out. As I said, it sounds like a Zippo loader.
Got Ozzy with me. Wave, Ozzy.
I cried at this part.
Amy Tobin. I don't know why the ground went. The poor little kitties. Very quickly after it went normal. Oh look, 2 hours.
I think the 2 hours, it really got me at the time. It still does. It was sad because it was the first part we actually came into was the children's section. And as a lot of you know, we've just had our grandson born. So I think that, and with what I went through with my son, it just sort of really hit home. So I went a bit funny, but a lot of people from the jail and from the asylum were also buried in this cemetery. It was another reason we wanted to show our respects as well. Hey, Vestiges.
Using my new gadget, full spectrum camcorder, people. It's going to be grouse tonight. Be even better once I get to know how to use it better. Alright, see you in the next one.
Cemetery, the Chinese gravesite. The Friends of Guns and Ararat Cemetery project was commenced out of respect for the Chinese miners who died in the Ararat goldfields in the mid to late 1800s. Without these miners, Ararat's rich gold deposits may not have been discovered, nor the township of Ararat being its life as one of Victoria's vibrant mining towns. Ararat is recognised as the only town in the...
While recording this, I didn't see anything, but after we went over the footage, we noticed the white dot, especially at the start of it, and then here. It travels different sides of the screen, and now all of a sudden it's pretty much all just disappeared. And I didn't wipe the screen, the lens, or anything, so I don't know where the dot come from or what it was.
And I know you can't really hear me. I need to speak up, especially when I'm on the camera. But what this was, all these little ones sticking up, was all from the Chinese that had passed away. So when they came to Australia, it was like most of this area of Melbourne and Victoria was all the Chinese, because they came here
For the gold.
Yeah, to find the gold, and Ararat was one of the main spots where the gold was found.
They wanted to go to Ballarat and dig the gold at Ballarat, but when they landed at Ararat, they realised that the gold was basically just sitting on top of the ground. So once word spread, people just flooded to Ararat to pick this gold up off the ground instead of having to dig for it. And a lot of them were Chinese immigrants.
Yeah. So all of these were just their headstones. They didn't have have it, but it was a surreal feeling walking through there and looking at them as well. And like we spent quite a bit of time. We found there was a lot with the same last name, so we don't know if they were the same family. Some of them were just numbers because they didn't know their names. And you'll see some white ones, and they were the ones that
The original ones.
yeah, the original one. They know name who.
That can lay claim to be found by the Chinese. Whilst this is the largest Chinese burial area in Australia, it is believed to be the largest interment of miners in one district, being the 𝔱𝔦𝔪𝔢 countries of southern Ganadu province. A pamphlet showing the grave locations is available from Gumsan Chinese Heritage Centre or the Ararat Visitors Information Centre. Burial records have been recorded in Pinyin. Miners commonly have names written in older or traditional Chinese script, which were then anglicized into peerage when recorded, and in many cases this resulted in their names being incorrectly written down by clerks. Miners also regularly gave allies, which means Chinese names recorded in the government documents in most cases cannot be relied upon as being correct in translation.
So there was roughly around 300 of these Chinese burials that were situated there. They have been restored now, and it looks really nice. But I mean, it was one of the largest ones in Australia of where the Chinese was as well. So it's good to see that they're actually fixing it all up.
1566.
Picture not coming up. So this was the two different ones. So as you can see, the ones that they've put in where they've done them up to the ones that were just, they didn't know the names, so they've just had the symbols there to represent who was there. So they were the two different kinds that was in the.
I just want to say thank you for receiving us, for sharing your past. May you all rest in peace, and your family lives happily ever after. Ozzy?
I was a bit choked up at that time. We did spend about an hour there, didn't we?
Probably about 45 minutes. So we walked around the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was only a short walk from where we were staying too, which was good.
Yeah. Okay. So now we come to what we actually went there for. So the Aradale Lunatic Asylum, it was an Australian psychiatric hospital. It was originally known as the Ararat Lunatic Asylum and then became Aradale. And its two sister asylums is the Kew and Beechworth. Anyone that knows us know that we love Beechworth. We've been there many a times on Paranormals. It was commissioned to accommodate the growing number of lunatics in the colony of Victoria. It was constructed in 1864. As I said, and the guardhouses are listed as being built in 1866. Through the list of patients extended as far back as 1865. It was closed as an asylum in 1998. And one thing we found was interesting when they say lunatic or lunacy was what they said was wrong with a lot of these people was the meaning of it. It was the Latin word for the moon. And this is because there was a time when they thought that the power to change our moods and our minds came from the sky and the moon. So when we get into the asylum, they would actually, and we learnt this from Beechworth, they would block the windows up.
Yeah, so they could stop. They wouldn't see the moon.
Yeah, to stop them from seeing the moon. So this was the front of the asylum. I don't know why these aren't showing up. Hang on, I'm gonna try and pull it down. Lady Spitfire, they say that this asylum is one of I'm gonna try and re-pull it back up. This is supposed to be one of the most haunted places in Australia. It's a bit of as you can see, but we found Beechworth, what is the sister asylum to it, to be a lot more active. I'm just going to try and pull the video file up again and see if that makes a difference.
You would think with 13,000 deaths it'd get more activity. But in saying that to you, some nights are better than others. Next time we go, it'll probably be more active.
Let's try and skip it to where we were.
Cemetery, the Chinese being the south known as also
I'm really sad these aren't coming up. When I played them before the thing, this was all playing perfectly. So when we went to J Ward, it was a guided tour that we went on. So it was very hard. We couldn't actually just go out by ourselves. That's another reason we want to go back. It was another reason we want to go back, because we want to do a private investigation where there's no one with us. It's just us that get to go in and do a proper one. With the cemetery, we could just go in. What we did, and that was just to show our respects. Then with the asylum, we actually paid for a 6-hour paranormal. I think it was like $600, wasn't it? For the two of us to go in. So we did have a guide. There was moments or time that we got to go out and do our own, because Spirit Time obviously has a lot of his own gadgets as well. So we did get like moments where we went out and done our own, but then there was moments where we were in a group as well. Does that make sense? So this one is in the chapel. As I said, I will try and fix the video up and put it back out so you can actually go through and see all the pictures that we took. But this was the chapel on the asylum, and they sat us all down one side on the pews, and left one side empty, like the whole side of the church was empty, and they had the yes no box and the EMF meter there, and he had some cat balls. The man that you hear talking here was our guide for the night. His name was Daniel, and this was with his toys. This is like the first room that we did go into. After the video, we have some other ones that we done.
It is said to be known, though, that the chapel seats do get thrown around from, like, tossed over.
just realised that the ball at the front there, I didn't pick it up. Can you show me where it is, please, Edward? Yeah. I can't. I don't know where it is. If you could light it up for me down there, and or did it switch off? Who knows? No. So it is still switched on. The ball at the front is still switched on, Jen? No, I thought it might easily bounce off when the it drops. Jen, can you touch the white cross for me, please? Set your device off. You know how excited I get when I
I don't know if he's just heard when it said come here. So I actually had Ghost Tube going on my phone because I still wanted to see what I could capture when we were in there. And as I said, he was talking, it was dead silent, and me and Spirit Time was sitting up the back. And when my Ghost Tube went off and it said come here, what was some words that we did get in here? Everyone jumped because it was only like it was dead quiet other than the guy Daniel talking, and then you just hear come here at the back of the church. It was really funny. It did scare the hell out of everybody.
So with the other device tonight, the white cross, you're not doing me any favours here. You usually really do. Is Edward still here? No. Spirits tend to do that, also come and go. Doing the collecting energy and then coming back through. I do have a rule, as I said, I was going to keep rolling back.
Here we go.
Okay. So after we left the chapel, we went to another building. There wasn't a lot. Me and Spirit Time we broke away from the group and had some of your things going, but there was so many people because there was 8 of us on the tour that night, and then there was 2 other tour groups going as well. So it was really hard because if you hear bangs and noises, we didn't know if it was paranormal or whether it was people outside in other groups. Again, this is why we want to go back and do a private one where it's just us on the premises. Then we went into, and this is the building that we're in here, it was the staff quarters. Now, this building was built after the asylum. It was a newer kind of building. What happened is, so you've got to think of the whole asylum was like a self-contained little town of itself, really. And they had a virus go through. So we all know what the C word done to the world. You could imagine a little asylum having a virus go through it. When the virus went through, they lost a bit over 300 patients at the time, and they buried them all on the ground, like of the asylum, and then they built this building on top. So it was commonly known just to sweep it under the carpet and build buildings on top of people at the time. It was the staff quarters, so it was where staff used to stay, but they say that the bottom floor is very, very active. So Spirit Time was the first one. We were, like, when we went in, we went straight up to the second floor of the staff quarters, and Spirit Time got to go down. He was the first one to go down the stairs along the first level and then back up the stairs. I'll show you this and then we'll tell you what happened after it.
So we go down one flight, and we go straight down the hallway. It's supposed to be the most active part. Let's go. Oh, chilly. Couple cameras. Hello. Nothing doing. Someone thumping upstairs. On the stairs. Going too far. Where the fucking stairs? They're there.
Now, the thumping upstairs was the tour guide. He was trying to scare Spirit Time, and he was actually jumping on the stairs. I didn't say anything to Spirit Time, so when I actually watched the bit back, it was quite interesting to hear that he picked up on that part. Now, when we were in this building, I started feeling really, really sick. I was really nauseated. It was that bad that Spirit Time had to take me out of the building. And not only did I have to go out, I had to get off the stairs that led into it right away from it all. And as soon as I did, I was fine. We took about 5 minutes and then we went back in. And Spirit Time has, so he has one that is like a gun, a plastic gun. How do you explain it?
It's,
I call it his pew pew machine.
I can't think of the name of it now. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's a microphone with a satellite dish on it.
So what it does is you put the headphones on your head and you can point it down hallways and it will pick up noise that's all the way down the hallway. So again, this was something I brought him for Father's Day, so it was something new to us and we both wanted to have a play. So we put it together and I put it on my head, like the microphone on my head, and the moment I put it on, I heard, "We are here." And it scared me the crap out of me. I know that's what I was there for, but I threw the headphones off and Jimmy gave them to Spirit Time and he put them on and was filming down this hallway. We took some photos. I think I can see something down there like a child. I've enlarged one of it so you can kind of have a look as well. While Spirit Time was filming this, I also felt something touch me, and then it came up on my ghost tube. So my ghost tube picked up the "We are here," and it also picked up, after it, something touched me on my shoulder. I jumped like 10 feet and then came up on my ghost tube, "I remember you." So it was quite scary. It was probably my least favorite building of the night. These aren't showing. Okay, so this was done in the morgue.
The picture was before that one.
Get the morgue pictures up. I think this is.
Now in the men's infirmary.
Yes, it's after the
This
morgue.
one's supposed to be very active, but we're not allowed to stay in here.
So do you want to explain a bit?
So people have actually been hurt in the men's infirmary, especially down one part of the infirmary. So you're not actually allowed to stay in there for a prolonged period of time because it can get rather dangerous. And they've actually blocked up a hallway now where people have been injured, and it's known as the Forbidden Hallway. So they go through a little bit of stuff in the men's infirmary. First thing he does when you go in there, he closes the main door and then plays a little game with the spirits in there. And then he will allow people to walk up the other side of the door into the other room, but you're told not to go down that hallway. And he had the microphone set as well. So there was a lady on the tour. She was on one side of the hallway pointing it down. I was on the other side of the hallway pointing it down. And
everyone else left. We all left.
They were in the main room. So the hallway wasn't far from the main room. and we were pointing down the hallway, seeing what we could hear, and then because all you could hear was him. Now this microphone thing would pick up a mouse farting. That's how good this thing is. I can't remember what it's called. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's really good for picking up sounds that you can't actually normally hear, especially really faint sounds. Now, we're pointing down the hallway. We were sick and tired of the noise, so the lady got up. She closed the door to block some of the noise coming out of the next room where they were. And then she come back to the other side of the doorway, and we're both still pointing this thing down the hallway, listening to what we get. We heard a train go through, the local train, which was a good couple kilometers away. And then all of a sudden, the lady turned around and said to me, "Do you hear that?" And I said, "The music." And she goes, "Yep." And then it went quiet. And then I heard clang, clang, clang. And I turned around and said to her, "Do you hear that?" And she's, "Yep." And I said to her, "It sounds like someone coming up the stairs." And then all of a sudden, both of us saw full body apparitions standing at the top of the stairs. Now, unfortunately, I had turned the camera off, so I couldn't get it. And within 60 seconds of seeing that apparition, it disappeared, and I started getting a really bad feeling. And I've turned around and said this lady, "I've got to get the fuck out of here." And I grabbed my shit and ran out the door. And I turned around, and she was right behind me. And when we got in the room, her lips were sore, her feet were all tingly and really sore, and she couldn't be in there anymore either.
And when he came running out, he was like literally running.
I was petrified. I ended up curling up on Ozzy's lap.
And he was white as a ghost. So this one was at the end. As I said, there was Gil was on the tour, so this was just the tour one at the end. Okay, so I removed me instead of the thing. There were some videos we couldn't get into the video that I made. I'm just removing it. So we do have some other little videos. So these were ones that we done in other rooms, and I couldn't get them into that one that I made. So this first one was the women's area, I think it was. And this is Spirit Times parts. This is when we broke off by ourselves.
We have a couple of devices at the end of the room you can interact with. Anybody at all? What's making that?
So we had the REM pod at the end and Spirit Times laser grid going, and he also had an EMF like near the doors. So this room that we were in is where they would do the operations, was it?
I think so, yeah.
And then they went to the site there was two rooms, as you can see, the two doorways, and they were like just cells that they would put them in, kind of thing. I have my ghost tube going at the time, and Spirit Time had his, what's your app that you were using?
Necrometer.
His Necrometer. So when you hear the words, that's what it is. It's our apps bringing the words up.
Yeah, wow.
That noise you're hearing, that's the RAM pod.
I've got a rain pod down the end. EMF.
I want you to go just down from the ghost tube.
Hey,
I want you to go just down from the ghost tube.
where do you want me to go? Yep. Can you bring other side? Other side of what? Of the room? Are we upsetting you by being here?
That noise again is the RAM
What is
pod.
that?
So it was making noise, but it wasn't actually lighting up what was confusing us.
I changed the setting on.
Is Samantha here? Are you a patient? Where are we? So we're in the room for the mortuary. Down the end there, those two doors. Who is Jacqueline? Would Jacqueline like to interact with the gadgets we've got around the room? Jacqueline's here. I've got a ramp pod down the end. Only got to go near it. Go down and touch it. Make it light up for me. Is there anybody in here?
So that was the first one. This was a continual from that one. It was in the same room.
You can play with it again.
Absolutely.
And by all means. Down the end of the room.
Currently is in here with us. That's 3 names you gave us. Did you work her? You can answer yes or no and they'll give us.
They treated you badly. Who mistreated you? You getting anything?
Brian.
Was Brian one of the guards? We just come out of the nursing quarters. Ozzy was feeling nauseous and said someone had brushed her neck and shoulder. I had to take her outside to get some fresh air, and then we went back in again. What was that? It was a listening device with the headphones and pointed it down the hallway. And what they say? Yeah, she heard "Where are we?" down the end of the hallway, and then looked at a ghost tube, and it was also on the ghost tube. And then when she got touched, it came up on a ghost tube saying, "I remember you." So I've had some activity, but it's hit and miss at the moment. Who was Brian? That's a couple more names you've given us. Who's here with us? Some of us isn't then doing anything. What is that?
Handheld clover.
Next time we go, and we're going to organise it pretty soon, we're hoping, as I said, to go back and do it solo by ourselves, so there won't be other people there. We want to do both the jail and the asylum and get in there privately so that we can do proper investigations and actually do it live while because we were on a tour, they wouldn't let us go live from there.
That
But if
was
we do
hard
it
to
privately,
understand.
we're going to be able to go live. And that way we can show you everything that Spirit Time's got and do it. So
it was hard because a lot of the stuff I had was all in a backpack. So to get it all out, I had to rifle through the backpack to try and find anything. But coming back, we've now got a full bang case, and I've got it all into little segments and stuff now. So all I need to do is open the case, and I can grab it out without having to rifle through a bag to find it.
Yep. So, and another thing we found really funny. So the tour guide that was doing our tour that night, he actually makes ghost stuff like equipment as well. And throughout the night, it was more like he was trying to sell his equipment to us than rather giving us the history of the asylum. And there was rooms we were going in and like all our gadgets were out. We were getting nothing, but he was seeming to get a lot of activity in every room. We did feel, so walking around the asylum, we felt like something was following us. We came down one set of stairs and I was right behind the tour guide, and I felt the wind of something like brush past me. And just as I did, he felt something hit him. So something got thrown. We couldn't find what it was, but something did get thrown. And throughout the rest of the night, we did feel like something was following us around the asylum. I do have one more video to show, but this was in the morgue. And again, we were allowed to put our equipment out in the morgue. It was just the tour guide put his equipment out and was talking to them as well through that. So it only goes a couple of minutes.
Work, and then this other playful thing seems to pop in as well. Now, the Doctor is a very busy man, but he's also very intelligent. So I try to get him to take a break, Doctor. You can come down, I'll brought you some fresh specimens. If you want me to leave one of them behind for you, just give it a poke in the face or in the eye or something like that, and I'll make sure I leave them here for you. But if you come and join us, you are such a man of talent that I know you're really great at interacting with these devices. And I know you like the music box, so I made sure that I bought that for you. The 1 week that I didn't bring it, because it was in development, and nothing happened. I got nothing. I was like, seriously, okay, so the music box is my bargaining chip, isn't it? If I bring the music box, you bring the magic. So if you'd like to come and join us, please, Doctor, or if there's any other spirits here, whichever one likes to run laps. Doctor, you want to come in and join us, please? Doctor? Hello? Feels completely empty at the moment. Doctor? Or any other spirits, can you come in and join us, please? You want to play some music? You just touch the green light down there, go touch the music box and play some music. Again, pay attention to the amount of time that it is not playing music. Hello? Where are all the spirits tonight? Doctor? You can't... Surely you can take a break just for me. This is the last one for a while. Oh, here we go. Hello, Doctor. Is that you? Is that you? Twice for now? You know how it works. I don't need to remind you. Yes, hello. Were you really busy just then? Are you busy at the moment? Yes. Okay. Well, I won't keep you too long, but are you able to make a sound for us? Like a tap, breath, touch the white cross, like the ball up? No, come on, I know you can. If anybody at the asylum can do something complicated, it's got to be you. I've got the music box for you. No? Okay, maybe not the doctor. Am I talking to the doctor? No, no. No. Okay. So there's more than one spirit here. Jen, is that you? I don't think it is. Is that you, Jen? Yeah, okay. Jen, is there other spirits here at the moment? Yes, okay. Are they able to play the music box, or can you play the music box for us, please? Just so we get something down here. It's a bit of a dead end when we come down here. No? Okay. What about the ball on the bench there? Can you do the ball? Yeah. Well, go play the music box on your way out, if you can, please. I've had that happen before. That was when the ghost tours did it too. It was like 30 odd people, like, finished up there and then they went out and did the music box. It was great. Okay, let's try it on this side. Alright. Am I speaking with Jen? I don't think so. Oh, we have no. It's going to be a no. I don't believe that. I don't think so. Alright, if it's you, Jen, light the ball up. Can you light the ball up? I've got a massive sense of confusion. How's everyone else feeling? I feel like really unfocused. It's a bit of an unusual sense. No, it's not, but like I've been in here that many times, it's a bit of a new feeling. I was like really confused. It's not my confusion, it's just a sense of confusion. I don't think. Whatever the thing is.
Feeling like pressure or stress, like.
No, just confused. Just like, I have no idea what's going on.
No, I feel pressure or stress, like everyone, it feels like, it's like the feeling of like, when someone is running around, which is doing it, like, no.
Right, this is the
Stop. So yeah.
Before you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Literally come into the screen.
Just a couple pictures. Okay, you can't see it on there.
Hang on, I'll show you what I'll do. I know one's you can show. So these were two pictures before we go. They were on the video, but they haven't come up. So I'm going to send them to my computer and put them up that way because we really want you to see them.
Especially one of them.
And we didn't know, like, we've seen these after it. So I'll go to doesn't want to work for me. Now froze.
Goes in the machine.
Completely froze. Sorry, we froze up for a minute there. I'm just uploading them so that we can show you. I might freeze again, just, yeah.
Sorry about it. Put them in the community. What they can go.
No, I've already done. So this was in the video. This was something down the hallway. We felt like a trail. I can't enlarge it, but yeah. I will put these ones up on my community wall if you want to look at them as well. Be able to enlarge it.
It's more so this one.
And when we came out, so when after Spirit Time had what happened in the men's ward, when we came out, I took a photo going back of the men's ward, and we got this one. Well, I swear you can see an evil clown or something up the top in the mirror, in the window.
Again, she'll put them on the community wall so you'll see them
Yeah.
a bit bigger.
So you'll be able to go in and see them. I think that's about it. As I said, we are going to try in the next couple of weeks to go out and do private tours there so that it's not with tour groups or anything. And that way we can actually go live and do an investigation and have yous with us at the time. But other than that, I'll be back next week and doing another true crime case. So thanks everyone for joining. We have dropped Spirit Time's link. Please remember to go and sub up to Spirit Time if you haven't. Next week as well, when I do my true crime one, I'll be giving away another tumbler, because only one of the people last week got in touch with me, so I still have a tumbler to give away. But because we done it for members last time, next week we're going to do it for anyone that's in the chat. So if you're a subscriber and you're in the chat next week, you'll go into the draw and we're going to give another tumbler. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you all next week. Bye for now.